Welcome to the Bay Area Motif podcast, where we talk with locals in the music scene about the Bay Area music industry. I am your host, Dorian Marquez, and we have a great one for you. My guest today is the bassist from Space Giant, a San Jose-based rock band that has launched a debut rock album in 2020. Tim Leehane not only rocks, but is also a father, works in tech, and he happens to be the current lead for the San Jose chapter of Balanced Breakfast, which is a local and national-focused industry meetup group. We have so much to talk about, and I'm excited for us to get to know him more. Welcome, Tim. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
No, it's really excited to share our conversation with everyone. But before we get into all the cool stuff that you've got going on, could you tell us more about yourself? What's your musical background? What got you into playing music?
Oh man, I've been playing music since I was a little kid. So I was 5 years old when my parents first enrolled me in piano lessons, and I never stopped playing, but in a lot of different ways. Like I was learning classical piano all the way through high school from a nun of all people, and realized like that just wasn't for me. I started listening to rock and roll in high school. I was like, okay, this is more fun. I picked up a guitar because my friends, of course, peer pressured me into trying it out, and learned how to play rock music. Kind of never looked back. I've been, as life has ebbed and flowed and things have gone up and down in my life, it's taken a back seat at times, but it's always been there, always nagging at me. And I've always made sure to feed it because it's important to me and my happiness. So always been involved in music in one way or the other throughout my entire life.
So in our pre-show conversation, you talked about, learning a lot of classical style music. What was your primary instrument?
Initially, it was piano. That was all that I played. And then I did take a guitar lesson, I think, in the fourth grade for 1 year, which was cool. It was like learning like John Denver Country Roads on a nylon string guitar. It was fun, but I didn't realize how cool guitar was until high school, and I picked it back up then. Then guitar became my primary instrument for a long time. Through college, I was in a punk rock band playing guitar, uh, and another rock band. When I moved up to Portland, and I had kids, I could not keep the original band thing going. So I joined a cover band, which is kind of like, cover bands are fun, but for different reasons, but they don't require as much work on my part to just kind of learn someone else's stuff rather than create new stuff. And in that band, we traded off. So I started playing bass and guitar in that band, and got to the point where I didn't like bringing all the instruments. I'm like, let me play bass. That seems like simple enough for me to like learn a new instrument. I'll just play bass for a while. So I played bass in that band for a while, and I actually got pretty good at it and really enjoyed it. So I've kept up with that as well. So right now I play bass in Space Giant. I play guitar and bass for another group called Brighttree Village. And then of course I use all my instruments for all sorts of other music production purposes behind me. But now I don't know if I have a primary instrument. It all depends on my mood.
I guess that's really good. That helps a lot. And so when you talk about your journey through music, I think one thing to highlight is did someone else bring into you? Did someone introduce to you? Hey, check this out. Let's play some music together. Did someone bring you in like in high school? Okay, like what's that story?
Yeah, I mean, it's always like, the music kids find each other. They know whether it's through common interests of like a band they like or whatever, and then they both find out that they both play an instrument kind of crappily, and so they decide to get together in a garage and see what it sounds like. And that's kind of exactly what happened. We were like, we'd meet at the lunchroom, talking about music or whatever concerts we wanted to go to or whatever album just came out. And then we'd learn like who has an instrument, who has a drum kit, like, hey, let's get together and jam this weekend. And of course we'd get together in some parents' poor house that'd have to listen to us. And we were terrible, but had a blast and thought we were rock stars, and it was a lot of fun.
No, that's really cool, and that's really interesting. Like, it's interesting that collaboration is just such a key component for you. I mean, it is for me too. When you're on your own, it's kind of easy to create some parts of the music. But like, how important do you think collaboration with other musicians is to like get out there, right? Because a lot of the aspects of performing music or playing music is you want to do it in front of people, right? So how important is it, to get out there for you?
Yeah, I think collaboration is huge. But there's plenty of people that don't do it, and that's fine. Like solo singer songwriters are out there just up on stage with their guitar or their piano, just knocking it out of the park, and they don't feel a need to collaborate. They're good at what they do, and I think that's great. But some people, if you want a bigger sound, if you want to have like, a 5-piece band playing behind you, like then you have to collaborate. And even a singer-songwriter who wants to like do a bigger show that's not at a cafe and wants to have like a back line needs to find artists to work with, whether it's, hiring them or finding friends that can play. So there's always an element of collaboration. In fact, I always think about music as like, it's one of the only art forms that requires collaboration in order to be successful, especially a band. Like, if you're a painter, you can paint by yourself. If you're a writer, you can write by yourself. But if you're a musician and you want to do anything besides just play your own thing, you've got to work with others. And working with other artists is challenging and exciting, and it will push you to try new things, learn new things, and expand your own repertoire. It's pretty powerful.
Yeah, no, I totally understand. I grew up playing, in band, wind ensemble, jazz band, brass choir, all sorts of things like that. And, while getting better is all about listening to your own intonation and just listening to how you play, you really have to work to listen to others, move with everyone else, and of course, complement each other, not just with, with how loud you play sometimes. So you have to be very good and in tune. And just from my experience, jamming, playing solos and that sort of stuff, right? That's kind of where some of the best elements of how actively are you listening. That's where it all comes to play. So you can't really get that without collaboration.
For sure.
But you're currently in Space Giant. You're also doing another project, Brighttree Village. But with Space Giant, when did you guys start? And tell us about that journey and what made you guys decide to put out an album.
Yeah, we started. I don't remember exactly when it was. 2017 or 18, I think, is when we first got together. The three of us who are the backline of Space Giant, we played in a prior band called the Sonic Heavy for several years before that, and that band broke up. But the three of us kind of decided to, like, after a little hiatus, decided, hey, you want to try a new project? And we jive pretty well. We have like a pretty solid sound of like sort of grungy 80s inspired hard rock backline. But we wanted to change it up a little bit. So we decided when we started looking for a singer, we wanted to find someone a little bit different than who we had before. We found Asha, or Asha found us. It's kind of funny how you find singers. You run ads and you go Craigslist and all this stuff. You get all kinds of people. We did audition several people, but Asha really stood out because she has this like Amy Lee, like really loud belting vocals that can like just sit on top of this loud rock music that just cuts through. And we're like, okay, this is totally unique and different, especially in the Bay Area. Like, let's give it a shot. And so we put it together. We started writing material. And it took us a while because we all have day jobs and families and other things. But we got there and we finally got our album out like right before the pandemic and lockdown. So we had our CD release party at the Art Boutique in, I think it was in February, end of February or early March 2020. And then that was it. It was like lights out.
You guys cut it close.
Yeah, we couldn't even practice for a while because our rehearsal studio was closed, and nobody wanted to get together. So it took us some time to get back together. But now we're back at it again. We've done one show. We're starting to rehearse, starting to write again. We actually are rehearsing now here in this basement behind me, and we're excited to get back out there soon.
That's really cool. And, just a little hint to everybody. I do have a video coming up, featuring Space Giant's album Arrival. And so I'll be sharing more content with that. And we'll, of course, have more conversations with Tim. But kind of switching gears a little bit, I see you have a really cool shirt on right now, Balanced Breakfast. I made a mention earlier. So, just in your own words, what is Balanced Breakfast and why did you join?
Yeah, Balanced Breakfast is an international music community, basically, that it's formed up of local cities where musicians meet up and discuss the music industry and help each other out and collaborate and everything. It's really about networking and community. It started in San Francisco many years ago by a few people. One of them is the founder still there working on the project called Stefan Arison is his name. and started in San Francisco. Basically meeting I think it was every Saturday morning for breakfast, and that's why it was called Balanced Breakfast. Since then, now we meet all times of the day and not just during breakfast, and have kind of kept the fun name. But I lead the San Jose chapter of Balanced Breakfast, and so we run monthly meetups that are slowly starting up after lockdown. People are starting to come out of the woodwork, get back together, and I'm hoping to spend a lot more time growing that over the next few months.
That's really cool. Since we both live here in San Jose, why is something like Balanced Breakfast important to, venues, promoters, local musicians, bands in San Jose?
Well, I think San Jose is a really interesting community. I mean, it's what is it, the 10th largest city in the United States. It's a huge city. It's, the heart of Silicon Valley, as we call it. But there's not a lot of attention or opportunities for the arts in general down here. But they exist. I mean, they exist everywhere humans exist. Arts will always exist. But I think music in general is like, when you think about music in the Bay Area, you don't think of San Jose. You think about San Francisco, of course, or somewhere else, maybe more trendy. But there's a lot of talent down here, a lot of talent. And it's a little bit dispersed, a little bit hidden. You have to seek it out. We're not as consistent as at having events and things like that down here as they are in other larger cities. So a place where the community can get together and share ideas about how to grow, whether you're a venue trying to figure out how to attract more people, or maybe you're someone thinking of opening a new venue. We could always use new venues in San Jose. Or you're a band that's struggling with the decision of like, do I stick it out down here or do I move to Nashville or LA like everybody else? It's good to have people to bounce ideas off of and share your war stories with and ask for help or collaborate with if you're looking for new people to meet. So I just think community is like the heart of everything, and to have a place, a virtual place, I guess, because we meet different places all the time, but a place where we can get together and chat and share and help each other out is awesome and super important.
Yeah, that's really exciting. I'm looking forward to learning more about Balanced Breakfast as time goes on, and looking forward to it growing. And just to provide some insight, since you are the current lead for the San Jose chapter, what are some events in the past that Balanced Breakfast has done that you've been a part of, that you've seen kind of grow? And on the other side, what are some of the key kind of aspects that you'd like to see grow in the near term?
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of things that I've seen Balanced Breakfast do at large over the last several years. So first of all, the Music Summit, which we just had. We just had the Music Summit up in San Francisco, where people from all over the country came to San Francisco to kind of basically go to attend panels and meet other industry leaders from other cities and to share things. So like I was on a panel about music production, and there were panels on music business and licensing and the legal stuff and you name it. So that Music Summit has been awesome, and I've gone for several years now. Super important, very, very helpful. They used to do this fun thing that was actually one of the first things I really got into with Balanced Breakfast. They call it Rock Lotto, which is a hilarious concept of you put your names in a hat and they pick 5 people and you are a band randomly. If you have 4 drummers and 1 ukulele player, that is your band. And you have 1 month to write 10 minutes of original material and get ready to perform it at a show in San Francisco. And it is the funnest thing to just like meet people you've never met before, have to make up this new material and then perform it. And I've met some great people doing that project, including a guy named Caleb. I do a lot of his music production since we met, and we've put out some music on our own just because we met on this thing. And they even did it during lockdown over Zoom, which was even more challenging because you had to make a music video with people you've never met and didn't meet. And I had a band, someone from Austin, 2 people from LA, 1 person from Idaho. And we wrote 3 songs and we made music videos for them and put them out. And we had a watch party, basically. It's super fun. But again, people that I never would have met otherwise, who now I know and have stayed in touch with. And it's just been phenomenal. And of
That's
course,
really
the
cool.
meetups. The meetups are great.
Okay.
I think going forward, what I would
Yeah.
love to see. Oh, by the way, Balanced Breakfast also does music showcases. So like they did one in South by Southwest this last year, which Space Giant participated in. It was really fun. They're doing one in Portland in August. There's another one in San Francisco in I think September. And these are basically, one venue all day long, several artists or bands performing that showcase different talent inside a Balanced Breakfast. That's always been popular. What I'd love to do going forward, I'd like to bring some of that to San Jose. So San Jose has, a lot of that stuff happens in the San Francisco chapter, which is sort of like headquarters. But I'd like to start doing more of that down here. Maybe sponsor a stage at the Sofa Street Fair, something like that, to get people knowing what Balanced Breakfast is about, and also highlight local San Jose bands that may not otherwise get the attention from others. So that's what I'd like to do going forward.
That's really cool. Yeah, I was hoping that you would talk about Rock Lotto because it's such an interesting kind of concept. If you're in a band, it's a great opportunity for you to kind of get out of that little box that you may have put yourself in and get inspiration from, playing with other people and bringing it back to your band. But if you're a solo artist, then it's a great opportunity for you to kind of add more kind of experience to what you've been doing. And so, maybe you don't have to be a solo artist. Maybe you can collaborate more often. So it really opens that door up to you. So just kind of curious, what are some things that, that you plan to do to kind of bring in some participation? Or what are things that you do right now if I'm interested in kind of going to a Balanced Breakfast meeting? What are things I can do?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing to do is to find the Balanced Breakfast community, which we kind of use Facebook as our hub right now. There is a website for Balanced Breakfast as well, but the primary place we all chat is in Facebook groups. So there's a Balanced Breakfast Facebook page that will link you off to the different groups, and every city has its own group. It usually starts with BB San Jose Music Community or something like that, I think is what it's called. So you find BB Music San Jose Music Community. It's a Facebook group you can join, and you'll find other musicians and people from the industry there in that group. There's one for San Francisco. There's one for the North Bay. There's one for the East Bay. There's one for Santa Cruz. So there's a lot of them in the Bay Area, and then there's one in LA, and then they start fanning out around the nation. And there's even some international cities as well that do the same thing. So if you're interested, find that first, join up one of those, and that's where I'll post like when we're having meetups. I'm hoping to since lockdown ended, I've slowly been starting up the meetups again. People have been coming slowly but surely to the events, which has been awesome. I'm going to start bringing topics to the event, which I think will attract even more people to come. I think the next one that we have will be the second Saturday in July. And my friend Caleb, who's kind of an expert in music licensing and royalties and things like that, is going to come down and hopefully talk about that stuff. So I'm going to try to talk him into doing that. I think he'll do that. And that'll attract people who are interested in that sort of topic. But I think topics will help. And then I'm going to look for more ways to kind of connect with the community locally. Like can I get connected with the San Jose Office of Cultural Affairs and other areas where if there's an event popping up somewhere, Balanced Breakfast can be a presence there to help people learn what we're about, get more musicians interacting with the community.
That's really cool. And so, we're kind of wrapping up the end of this podcast. It was really great to, learn about you, your background, and learn about Balanced Breakfast. Just some kind of closing notes. How can people reach out to Space Giant to see if they want to collaborate? And I heard you're, playing more shows. You're kind of going to be out there more often. How can they reach out to you? And just kind of curious, so, it's not just bands and musicians, what kind of other, groups and types of people would you like to reach out to Balanced Breakfast, and how would you recommend they do that?
Yeah, I mean, you can find Space Giant. We have a website. It's space-giant.com. So it's easy to find us. We're also on all the social networking platforms. So you'll find us on Instagram and Facebook and all that. Even TikTok, although we only have 2 videos. We're not very good at that. But you can find us anywhere. In terms of people who are interested in Balanced Breakfast, anybody connected with the music industry would be useful in the Balanced Breakfast community. We want everybody to be part of it. So you can be a person who creates music videos. Maybe you're not even a musician, but you make music videos. or you're a photographer and you love taking band photos, or you are a venue and you want to stay connected with all the artists, or you're, of course, an artist, a musician, or a music producer, or a lighting person, or like whatever, however you feel you are connected to the music industry, come on out, get to know people and connect and collaborate. That's what it's about.
That's really cool. And so I'll be likely posting this video very soon, just so everyone's aware. When's the next Balanced Breakfast San Jose meeting?
The next one will be on. Apologies, I don't have this on the tip of my tongue. It's on the first Saturday in. Man, I don't even have a calendar handy. The first Saturday in July. I think it's the 9th.
Yeah, let me check as well. So Saturday the 9th. And where is it
Yes.
going to be at?
We're going to have it at San Pedro Market Square at 11 a.m. So that's the big market down. We meet outside. So if anybody who doesn't like being indoors, it makes it more comfortable for everybody. And there's food and coffee and even beer. If you want a beer at 11 in the morning, you can get a beer at 11 in the morning. But it's a great place to hang out right in the middle of San Jose. So it should be easy for folks to find.
That's really cool. Looking forward to seeing more people there. Thank you so much for your time. Looking forward to more conversations, and see everyone next time. Thank you, Tim.
Thank you.